Hey everybody, my name is Kier Draws and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be redesigning Bliss from Powerpuff Girls. So for those of you who don't know, Bliss is a new Powerpuff Girl from the Powerpuff Girl remake. And honestly, I have a lot of problems with her design. One glaring issue for me is her height compared to the other Powerpuff Girls. Like, I know she's supposed to be older, but instead of making her body proportionate to the fact that she's a teenager, they just made her legs really long and her hips wider, which makes her look kind of stupid. Another big issue for me is her color palette. Like the other Powerpuff Girls all have natural hair colors that go with the colors of their outfits. But for Bliss, she just has bright blue hair and then a purple outfit. The random hair color aside, what makes her outfit even worse is the fact that somebody else already had a purple outfit. I don't know if you guys remember the episode, but there was an episode where they made a Powerpuff Girl and her name was Bunny. And this Powerpuff Girl was beloved by everybody, so the fact that they decided to replace her with a less likable character and have her take her color was kind of dumb. But without further ado, let's get into the redesign. Okay, so here I'm just doing the sketch. I wanted to give her a more dynamic pose. For her hairstyle, I wanted to give her a fro. I thought that this hairstyle would suit her because in her original design, Bliss has like voluminous hair, but for some reason it's straight, so it only puffs out at the bottom. I feel like the designers of the original Bliss had no idea what to do with her hair. I don't know if it's because she's a black Powerpuff Girl, but at the very least they could have tried. Like as a black artist myself, I find it weird how artists find it so hard to draw black hairstyles. Like instead of just giving Bliss curly hair or a fro or braids or even just like fully straight hair, they give her this weird hairstyle that flares out at the bottom. So for my design, I eventually settled on just a fro with bangs since she has bangs in her original design, so I thought it would suit her. As for her outfit, I wanted to make it a Powerpuff Girl outfit but with some added flair. So I just added a cape, changed her shoes into boots, and changed up the design of her skirt a little bit, and I also gave her shorts underneath. And while I was giving her a redesign, I also kind of wanted to come up with a new backstory for her, which will kind of explain some of the design choices I made for her. One thing that I'm adding to her design is that I'm actually giving her fire powers. I did this because I thought it would be cool if instead of being a sister to the other Powerpuff Girls, she actually had her own sisters, and maybe instead of Professor Utonium being her dad, maybe there was another professor, and maybe this time it could be a mom, just because. And in this version of her backstory, maybe the mom professor made her alongside her sisters to protect another city. And all of the Powerpuff Girls, besides Buttercup, have a special ability, so I thought it would be cool if Bliss were the leader of her sisters, and she had fire powers, since fire is the opposite of ice, which is Blossom's special ability. And the way that they can introduce her into the story is by having the main Powerpuff Girls struggle with a really strong monster from the other city, and so Bliss will come in and save them unexpectedly. And I feel like that's a better storyline for her, because I feel like Professor Utonium wouldn't abandon any of his kids. So the fact that he had a whole child in the show that he never mentioned to the other Powerpuff Girls, and that she was just stuck on some random island, was just really off-putting to me. Okay, so now we're getting to the colors. So for the background, I wanted to keep it pretty simple, so I just went with something that kind of looks like Townsville. And I thought that purple would look good for color scheme, so I just made the background and the buildings all different shades of purple. For Bliss herself, I wanted to give her a color palette of all different shades of cyan. I thought that this would be cool because the Powerpuff Girls are RGB, so red, green, and blue. And the other primary color palette is cyan, magenta, and yellow. So in this version of Bliss's story, since she has two sisters, I thought it would be cool if she were cyan, then one of her sisters was magenta, and then she had another sister who was yellow. I kept her hair as blue, but I made it a darker blue so it wouldn't be so clashing with the rest of her color palette. I also added gold elements to her design, so the golden armrests and then the gold in her boots, because I thought that would be a good contrast to all of the blue and cyan in her design. As for the coloring process itself, I want to go for a more cel-shaded look. I kind of want this drawing to give comic book cover vibes, so I thought that cel shading could give that effect. For the flames, I decided to make them a pink color because I decided that would be a good contrast to all the blue. And here I'm just adding some finishing touches and highlights. And here's the final design. I went back and changed the proportions a little bit. I also adjusted the curves with the drawing and added some text so it really looks like a comic book cover. And for reference, here's what the design looks like before and after, side by side. Before I ended the video, I wanted to show you the redesign that I made of Bliss a year ago. Most of the redesign is the same, but I changed up her pose and I also added more details to her. Funnily enough, the original design was one of the first YouTube videos I made on this channel. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Bye!